Hey everybody, today we are going to learn how to make cheese. Right here I have goat's milk, 1 gallon that I got from 3 goats just a bit ago. Had to go out there with my headlamp in the dark and do it. This is amazing. I remember I had this thought in my mind about goat milk and goat cheese, like a funk, like a nasty smell or something and taste. And there was just something about it I couldn't stand. I must have tried some that had been contaminated with the male. Remember I told you in the last video, when a male is close to the female's milk changes taste and flavor. And really, the male goat smells so bad anyways that it's just logical. But the other day, I got here, I had 2 goats, they're from a friend. He gave me a glass and I was like, nah, brother, nah, I know what that's about. And he convinced me, so I tried it and I was like, what is this? Oh my goodness. Give me another glass. Like, it was so good. So I decided, okay, great. So I started drinking milk, goat milk, with my cereal, with my dinner, everything. And then I thought, how cool would it be to make cheese? Because I love cheese. And it works out so good. You guys are going to love this recipe. The way it comes out is amazing. Obviously, the quality of the milk is going to make the biggest difference. My 3 goats are Sanin. That's like the breed, and they are specifically like in the high caliber for as far as taste goes. Each breed is different as far as how much they produce, what it tastes like. It's fat to protein ratios, all those things change. Sanin, yeah, it's just been, that's been the best for me. So, okay, here we have our clean working environment. That's important. I have my cheesecloth, salt, stir, everything washed first so it's sterile. I've got my milk in here. I've got the heat on low on my butane stove here, and this milk needs to get to 95 degrees. Now, some people have different thoughts about that, 97, 98, 100. I have found that when it's just a little bit warmer than my finger, then it's ready. So I've used a thermometer many times, and I found out that there's just no difference. It's going to heat up, and it's going to cool off, and it's going to coagulate in the way that it wants to based on a chemical reaction. All you have to do is get it to that temperature, but it's not about like being perfect with it. So I just personally use my finger. Okay, and so we're going to stir this milk. Now, here I have a strainer. I use this because as much as you clean off the nipples of the goats before you milk, things can fall in there. It happens. So I strained it, and now we're adding heat, and that's plenty good for antibacterial purposes. Obviously, if your goat is laying in her own dung or in another animal's dung, and then that gets into the milk, then the milk could have a problem. But I've never had a problem. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, this is I don't know the name in English, but in Spanish, cuajo. And what this does, you add this to it when it's at the right temperature, and it starts to it becomes jello, sort of. And you stir it, and it breaks up just like jello. Um, so we're gonna get this to the right temperature. It's almost there, okay? And we're gonna need salt. So we're gonna need salt, and since this is 1 gallon, what I've done with 1 gallon is, well, this salt is a little sticky. 1, 2 and a half. That's how I've done it, and it's amazing. It's you can't really perceive the salt, but it's not bland. You obviously could make it saltier if you wanted to. Okay, so you're mixing this up. You're making sure that the salt dissolves well before you add your cuajo. It's really important to make sure that your salt has dissolved and is now part of the milk. Because what happens is, if it's not, then when you make the cheese, the saltiness leaves with the liquid that you squeeze out of. You'll see. So, okay, this is at the right temperature. Got my cuajo, and I am just going to do 1 teaspoon. That's all you need. Okay. And you stirring it. I'll bring the phone over here in just a minute so you can see up close how the texture changes when you're doing this. I can feel the salt grinding at the bottom. Not all of it. It's just like a little residual. So that's why I'm stirring. And I want to make sure that I keep stirring until it becomes a thick thing. Now I feel it getting more viscose. So I know that the cuajo is working, and yeah, it's just getting real thick. I'm going to turn the heat way down because I don't want to go up too high in temperature. And I just keep stirring. Okay, now I feel there's no salt at the bottom, which that's what we want. Okay, now it's starting to change. Okay, so the cheese here has been doing its thing. It's been 30 minutes, and now you can see. Let's get out of the way. There you go. Now you can see it's like fully formed and separated from the whey liquid. So now here I have a bowl, and that's going to be used to make our mold. Then here, this is where I'm going to drain the liquid out and then put it in this bowl. So, got my cheesecloth, and I am going to pour this in. Okie doke. Now, let's just let it drain all out. Now, one thing about molding this cheese is you don't want to wait too long. Once you've pulled it out of the water, it really starts to want to make to make its mold. So you know, it'll be deformed if you don't mold it right away. So, okay. So now I've got my cheese in the cheesecloth, and I want to get all that liquid out. So I'm squeezing. I've got all the cheese in here, and that from 1 gallon you get about maybe a third of a kilo, I would say, like 7/10 of a pound, roughly. That doesn't sound like much, but I'll tell you. Okay, sorry, it's ready. So now, okay, so now I've got my mold here, but I'm gonna use the cheesecloth to make it. Okay, so I am molding it to the bowl. So I am molding it so it fits the shape of the bowl. You can make a star-shaped mold if you wanted. You know, this is just the easiest thing that I found around the kitchen, and it's easy to cut later because it's kind of thick. You can get your slices out of it, but you can make any kind of mold you want. Now this is ready, it's done. So I'm going to put it into the fridge and just let it sit, and it does something. You know, it makes itself it starts hardening and gluing itself together really nicely in the fridge. So this will be ready in 2 hours probably. I mean, you could use it now, but it would fall apart, it would crumble. So a couple hours in the fridge, and you just learned how to make cheese. You can do this with any kind of milk that has a high cream to liquid ratio. So like maybe a gallon of whole milk, maybe. But definitely this milk comes straight from the nipple of the goat. So now I have my cheese. It's come out of the fridge, nicely shaped. To be honest, I shouldn't have left it in the cheesecloth because it got these weird creases on it. It is what it is. Got my handy dandy butcher knife, and let's see how it tastes. Solo good. This is, oh man. I'll tell you guys, you got to do this recipe. Do it just like this. It is so delicious.